Welcome to the Note, I'm Ashley. The Chinese government is continuing to crack down big time on PUBG cheaters in the country. More than 140 people have been arrested in connection with making and distributing cheating software in the popular Battle Royale game. The arrests come as Chinese mega corporation Tencent, which distributes PUBG in China, has been working with local law enforcement to bust hackers who make cheating programs for the game. A report says that in the latest arrests, Chinese police seized more than 200 pieces of hardware ranging from mobile phones, computers, and other devices. This comes after it was reported earlier this year that Tencent was planning to go after cheaters in the game. There have been a couple arrests before, but nothing on this scale. Bloomberg reported in January Chinese police working with Tencent had arrested 120 people involved with making a software which let players do things like wall hacks, so, you know, up there. But there's every time escalating it, going bigger and bigger. Some of the software that they've arrested hackers over had a Trojan horse code that stole users' personal information, so this is all part of a larger crackdown to clean up the cheating in the game. It's crazy to me that you can have that many hundreds of people all making and distributing hacks for this game. Like, that's a scale business, guys. Woo! Speaking of PUBG and cheating, Twitch has banned a popular streamer for playing with a shady character in the game. It happened in a recent game of PUBG with the streamer Shroud, who teamed up with a pretty blatant cheater who was doing everything from using wall hacks to flying cars into buildings, and the cheater admitted to Shroud that he sells those cheats for a living. At one point, Shroud said during the stream that he knew he was going to get in trouble, and then sure enough, Twitch gave him a 30-day ban. Shroud said after the game that PUBG needs to clean up its act, saying, "It really goes to show that PUBG don't give a shit because that guy should have been banned immediately. The cheater ran into me twice. Third time I said, I'm gonna have some fun with him." Who knows, maybe something did happen to that cheater. For all we know, he just got arrested. The designers of the upcoming first-person shooter Rage 2 say that the game won't have loading screens and that it's going to live up to the promise of its predecessor, which is nice. The promise is a little bit late in being fulfilled, but they're working on it. Id Software studio director Tim Willits told the official PlayStation magazine the action in the game will take place directly in the game's open world rather than players having to go through loading screens like they did in the first Rage game. That led to what some call disjointed gameplay, but Willits said that Rage 2 will be a vast improvement. He said that in the sequel, you're just in the game, everything is seamless and together, and you can engage in combat the way you want. The promise of Rage is delivered in Rage 2, and that first-person shooter experience is expected to release next year, so we'll see then. The next part of Minecraft's aquatic update is here. Now, you might remember the first update added a bunch of ocean biomes, underwater life to explore, that kind of thing, lots of fun. Well, this latest update takes that even further, giving you some new friends like sea turtles who can lay eggs that will hatch into baby turtles. You can even train dolphins, which sounds extra awesome. There are also shipwrecks that you can comb through, a new underwater mob called the Drown, which is, well, it's basically an underwater zombie. And good news for Switch players, private servers called Realms are now available on that platform. The update is available now on Windows 10, VR, mobile, Xbox One, and Switch platforms. No word on when it's coming to PlayStation 4. The Mega Man-like platformer 20XX is now out for Switch, and while the style is definitely reminiscent of the Mega Man X series, the game is also a roguelike and its levels are procedurally generated, which means that you'll get something different every playthrough. You can play either as Nina or Ace, who have to battle robots after a mechanical uprising. And of course, there's plenty of wall jumping and dashing mechanics you might remember from a certain other franchise. One other cool addition, the game also allows local and online co-op play, so that's dope. The Switch version currently has a 78 on Metacritic and 82 on OpenCritic, and the Sixth Axis said it's the game that Mega Man fans have been waiting for, and quite simply, it does what it does spectacularly. So you're saying that Mighty No. 9 wasn't the game that Mega Man fans were waiting for? Now we got a release date for the next Far Cry 5 DLC. Ubisoft says the Lost on Mars update will release July 17th for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. Now, this is the second major piece of DLC for the game. Quite the scenery change, taking you from the familiar confines of Hope County, Montana, all the way to Mars. You play as Nick Rye, who has to stop an alien invasion of Earth, but hey, don't worry, your buddy Herc will be by your side too, which is awesome. It's good to see him. The DLC also includes new weapons, including the Blaster of Disaster, Hellfire, and the Morphinator. Oh, and you also have something called Space Jets to help you get around, so that should be fun. The DLC can be purchased for $9.99 on its own, or, of course, as part of the game season pass. The latest Hearthstone expansion has been announced, and it brings back an old favorite character, Dr. Boom. The mad scientist has apparently been doing some crazy experiments that players will find in the form of new cards with unpredictable results because, well, yeah, he's a mad scientist. In all, the expansion will have 135 new cards and some mischievous new game mechanics like Omega cards, which have more powerful effects when you play them at full mana. There are also new magnetic minions that can fuse with mechs and combine their stats. There's also a new single player experience called the Puzzle Lab. So pre-orders are available now in the game. The expansion is scheduled to release on August 7th. Brian, are you gonna buy it? Brian?
Yes.
Yeah, you are. I knew it. I knew you said you swore off paying any more money for Hearthstone. I knew better.
Can't resist.
If you got the urge to fight some giant mechs, and who doesn't, a new game called Override Mech City Brawl might be what you're looking for. Developer Modus Games announced the mech fighting game with a trailer showing giant Gundam-style robots beating the snot out of each other and destroying entire cities in the process, which is the fun part. In addition to a story mode, there's also online multiplayer as well as split-screen local PvP, so you can battle your buddies. There's also a party co-op feature where up to 4 players can each control various parts of a single mech, which is a cool concept. It seems like that's gonna make for some great achievement hunter videos for sure. It's coming to PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC December 4th. Well, hey, it looks like that super weird seeming Joaquin Phoenix standalone Joker movie officially official. Warner Brothers has greenlit the Joker Origins film that Hangover's Todd Phillips is directing. Now, we first heard about this project almost a year ago. Martin Scorsese, yes, that Martin Scorsese, was going to produce a Joker film that isn't really connected to DCEU directly, with Joaquin Phoenix playing the clown prince of crime instead of Jared Leto. In fact, Deadline says this film is going to be released under a new DC banner, further separated from the DCEU. Sadly, Scorsese has bowed out as producer, but the project still very much going forward with a fall shoot planned. No release date or anything like that set, but if they do shoot this fall, pretty good bet we'll see it in theaters late 2019, maybe early 2020, I guess depends on the effects. Steven Spielberg and Harrison Ford are going to team up to do one more Indiana Jones film together, but it's gonna take a little while. Originally, Indiana Jones 5 was slated for a July 2020 release, but Disney's officially pushed that back by a year. The new release date, July 9th, 2021, which feels really far away when you start counting it out. Apparently, the reason for the push is that Spielberg is in pre-production on his remake of West Side Story. It was also rumored that Solo's John Kasdan was hired to replace David Kapp as screenwriter, so this extra year could give them some time to get the script where they all want it. If they follow the timeline, Indy 5 should take place sometime in the late 60s. Oh, if they delay much longer, Dr. Jones could feasibly end up seeing Raiders of the Lost Ark in the theater. So meta. It looks like The Purge is here, on Twitter at least, not like the real Purge, so please don't go doing that, but on Twitter it's here. The platform says it's gonna get rid of tens of millions of suspected fake accounts starting on Thursday, and that'll have a big impact on accounts that buy followers in order to inflate their importance. This comes after news outlets like the New York Times did investigations that found companies which sold fake accounts to hundreds of thousands of users. This prompted investigations in multiple states and calls for Twitter to do something. Look, it's no secret why some celebrities, politicians, other people buy followers. It makes them seem really important, right? And that can mean a lot of money for people with big followings, like sponsorships, other deals. There will be, sometimes you hear about like acting gigs where they want to know that people have a following before they'll put them in something so that they'll have an audience draw. The Purge is expected to reduce the total combined follower count by about 6%, which, if you think about it, just overall, that's pretty significant, and it's part of a larger purge on Twitter to get rid of fakes. It was reported last week Twitter suspended more than 70 million accounts in May and June, which is also a lot of accounts. All in all, it seems like a win-win for us, all right? All right, that is the news for this roundup. Let me know what you think of all the news in the comments down below. To make sure you get all the crazy news from every corner of the internet every weekday, like this video, and if you're new to our channel, subscribe to the know. Brian,
yes.
Are you excited about Hearthstone?
Love Dr. Boom. Very excited.
You're such a sucker. I love it. But I also love how happy Hearthstone makes you.
Thank you. I'll try not to play during work.
Play a little during work. It's okay. All right, let's do some news.